nuclear is not green, but is useful to the transition. That's why in the taxonomy, so the definition, the text you referred to, there are three categories. There is the green category, where you have, for instance, renewable energies, and you have the transition category, meaning that it's not green, but it's useful to reduce our climate emissions and to fight against climate change, which is, to my view, exactly fact-based when it comes to nuclear. Nuclear is decarbonized, it's a matter of fact, but you have specific risk and specific waste leading to the fact that you cannot qualify it as green, as renewables. That's the good compromise, because it looks at the two sides of the coin. And for gas, we also found a compromise where you can say that gas is useful only and only when it replaces coal, to phase out coal, for instance, in Germany and in Poland, and only time-bound, meaning for the next years, but not afterwards, because afterwards, of course, it becomes incompatible with climate neutrality. So that's, to my view, a good political compromise the Commission put on the table, and I hope, of course, that it will be widely supported here in the Parliament and also by the Member States.
Pascal, the EU is also thinking of extending the carbon market to transport and buildings. And I read some comments that you made mentioning that this would be political suicide, and something that you compare with the Gilets jaunes movement in France. Can you develop on this for us? And also, what would be the alternative then?
Yeah, so I'm a big supporter of the climate package put on the table by the Commission. And I think that we are probably leading the way for climate action. And I know that because I have a lot of conversation with my US counterparts, that the US are looking very closely at what we are doing in Europe on a carbon market, on carbon border adjustment mechanism, on CO2 standards for cars, and so on, because we are leading the way. But within this package, there is one element I do not support. And what I do not support is the extension of the carbon market to housing and cars. Why? Because what works for companies do not work for households. A company can change its value chain, they can change their supplier, they can fire people, hire other people, change their technology, invest over the next 10 years, and so on. That's business. A family is not a business. You are not going to fire your kid because it becomes too expensive to get to school and then to go to the market and then back home. And you're not going to change this. That's the matter of fact. You are constrained. So that using the carbon pricing as a method to change will not work. And by the way, it is very against social justice, because it is much more costly for people with low average than for the others. So that's why I'm against this portion, this part of the climate package, and we try and we are doing the work to recalibrate it deeply to reduce the scope of this carbon market, not to touch the average people, the average family, but only focusing on companies.